Hello, welcome back. We're here again, and this week I am talking all about how to choose your wedding party and all the kind of common questions I get asked. I get asked a lot about this over on my TikTok channel. If you haven't followed me over there, Laura Beth Events. But I guess asked all these questions about how many people I should have in my bridal party, who should I choose, do I have to do this, do I have to do that? So I thought for a change I'd round up all the information and give you my 8 tips on how to choose your wedding party. If we haven't met before, my name is Laura Beth and this is my little wedding world. I am a professional wedding planner here in the UK, and each week I get to share stories, hints, tips, secrets into the wedding industry to help you plan your wedding day and make it way less stressful and so much easier. Before I dive straight on in with this video today, I have an exciting little announcement, and it is my first step into creating something more for you guys and a place where we can go so much further in these conversations and I can give you so much more personal advice. I have now set up a page on Patreon, and if you've not heard of Patreon before, I'm going to do a whole video on that, a bonus video for you all this week where I'm going to go into the details of what's going to be on offer. But just to let you know, I am planning on doing some lives, some more in-depth conversations, and creating a community where we can all come together and chat about this at a fraction of the cost of what a wedding planner normally would charge for these services. It is something I'm really excited about doing. I am really excited about creating this whole new world where we can talk about things and helping you all so much more in this journey of your wedding planning. I'm not going to go into it anymore today. I'm going to drop a whole new separate video on this so you can watch that video and find out all the details, and if you have any questions, as always, please get in contact. But for now, let's get on with the video. Here are my 8 tips to help you choosing your wedding party. Choosing your wedding party is so personal, and it's also quite a big task to go through. You're basically picking the people you like the most and the people you want to be with you, and a lot of us have so many different people in so many different areas of our lives. It can be hard just to choose a select few that you want with you. So today I'm going to put all the points together and give you a few ideas and a few pointers to help you. This is by no means a full list. There are so many different ways to do this, but it gives you a little insight into it, and I hope gives you a little bit of a guide. Let's start with number 1, and the first thing I'm going to tell you to do is take your time. It is so easy when you get engaged to be really excited and run out and tell all of your friends and all your family about it, and suddenly you sit down and you realise you've maybe told 15 people that they're going to be there with you on your wedding day. They're all presuming that they are going to be part of your wedding party, and suddenly you're sat there going, I didn't really think this through. So the first tip I'm going to say is when you get engaged, enjoy being engaged and celebrating and doing all of that first, and then take some time to actually sit down and think of what you want to do and what your plans are. Especially if you aren't planning on setting a date really quickly. Maybe you don't plan on getting married for 2 years, 3 years after that, maybe even longer. People change, and your own kind of situation might change as well. The people that you're really close with now might be completely different in 2-3 years time, even 18 months time. So I do suggest that you hold back a little bit, have a think about it, set your wedding date first, and then go about choosing your bridal party. The second most common question I get asked when it comes to choosing your bridal party is, how many people should I have? And there is absolutely no set hard fast rule on how many people you have to have involved. You can have none, you can have 10, you can have 15, you can have 20 if you want. It is totally up to you. What I would say is I tend to see if you've got a larger wedding guest list in total, people tend to have more people in their bridal party, whereas if you've got a smaller guest list, then you maybe have less in your bridal party. And I kind of think of this on a ratio sort of scale. If you've only got 30 guests to your wedding and 16 of those are in your wedding party, it's going to feel a little bit outnumbered, and those on your wedding guest list might feel a little bit kind of left out not being in there because there is so many people who are included in your wedding party. So that could be one thing that you want to consider. When thinking about how many, a lot of people kind of get stuck on the fact that it has to be equal on both sides, and I'm here to tell you it really does not at all. If you've got 3 people and your partner has 5, or it's 1 difference on either side, it really doesn't matter. People get so fixated on having the equal sides because the photos need to be equal, and that is not the case. Photographers can get super creative with how they set up the pictures, and it really doesn't matter. It just matters that these people are people you care about and you want them there with you. Number 3, sit down and talk about it with your other half before you go out and start inviting people. So this kind of comes along with taking your time and thinking about how many. You'll want to have this discussion together and work out that you're both kind of on the same lines. As I said, it doesn't matter that it's got to be equal or how many people you have, but you may not want it to be 10 on one side and 2 on the other, as it might feel a little bit too unbalanced for you. So it's definitely a conversation to sit down together and do this before you go out and ask people, because believe me, it's really hard once you've asked someone to go and retract that offer, and it can get really awkward. Whilst talking about it together, as boring as this sounds, you're going to want to talk about your budget as well. Are you really set that for your bridal party you provide all their outfits, their suits, their dresses, whatever you're planning on doing, plus hair and makeup, and you want to give them gifts? If this is what you want to do, then this is going to cost you a certain amount of money. So you'll both want to sit down and make sure you're happy with spending this sort of budget on your bridal party. And again, if you want more people but you've got a smaller budget, you need to sit down and have this conversation. You need to both know that you're going to be telling these people that they need to buy their own outfits, or they're going to have to do their own hair and makeup, or however you want to go with it. Whatever you choose to do is totally fine. There's no kind of set rule on what you have to provide for people. You just need to set these expectations from the outset and have this conversation together so you both know where you stand. This leads really well onto number 4 about setting expectations, and this is going to be at the point where you actually start asking people to be in your bridal party. Being in someone's wedding party is really expensive. There's so many commitments you need to make, so many things you need to do, and you need to let people know what they're signing up for when you ask them to be part of it. Looking at how many events you'll be expecting them to attend. Are there rehearsals? Are there evenings that you'll want to have them around your house to sit and do things? Are there hen and stag do's you need to sort out? All those things come at a cost. So when you're deciding on who's going to be in your bridal party, maybe think if they're the type of people that can afford to make these commitments. It can be really awkward to ask someone who doesn't have the funds to do this to be part of your bridal party, or you know that they've already got so many other commitments, and put them in the position where they feel like they've got to say yes, and it's going to put a huge strain on them. So this is a really hard one to think about, and it's not an automatic they shouldn't be included, but I think you need to have these thoughts and have this kind of discussion together before you start asking people. And if you really want them as part of your wedding party, you definitely need to ask them, but be okay with the fact that they may not be able to attend all the events. Maybe they've got kids and commitments, which mean they can't be there for every evening you want them to be. Or maybe they're not going to be able to make your hen or stag do, and you've got to be okay with that. Putting unrealistic expectations on your bridal party, and just because you've asked them doesn't mean that you can accept and expect them to do absolutely everything that you want them to do. And if you know they're not going to be able to do these things, have these conversations with them when you ask them. Let them know that it's okay that they can't be there for all the events, or it's okay that they can't afford to buy a certain thing. If you kind of say these things to them in advance, they'll be so much more relaxed about saying yes and being part of it, and they won't feel like they're going to let you down either. Number 5 point on the list for helping you decide on who's going to be part of your wedding party is to tell you to choose wisely. These people are going to be in your life a lot during the wedding planning process, and they're going to be around you and helping you through this entire kind of world of wedding planning. So you want to know they're going to be the right people to support you. You also want to make sure you've got a great mix of people in your bridal party. People who are going to be there for a good time and going to help you party and celebrate. People who are going to organise. People who are going to be there to make sure on the day you're going to be chilled out and not nervous. And if you are, they're going to know the right things to say. And you're going to want those people who, if they see you stuck in an awkward conversation with someone that you don't want to be talking to, or that you've been stuck in a conversation for too long, they'll pull you away to that dance floor and make sure that you have a great night. You want to know that your bridal party has got you at the centre of all their intentions and are going to make sure that you have an amazing time. I get asked the question all the time about, I was their bridesmaid or I was their groomsman about 3, 4, 5 years ago in the past, and I don't really talk to them much anymore. We haven't been doing that many things together. I don't know them as well. Do I need to still have them in my wedding party? And the answer is completely and utterly no. It's a personal decision, and lives do change, and people move on and they change their things that they're doing, they change their friendship groups. So if you don't feel that close to someone, just because you were their bridesmaid or groomsman in the past does not mean that you need to choose them for your bridal party. If they're still in your life but just maybe not as close, you could look at maybe giving them different tasks on the day. Are there any readings or any musical elements, any decor items they can help with that they can still be involved but maybe just not part of your main wedding party? Choose those people who are in your life now, who are consistently there for you, the people that you would pick up the phone to at God knows what time of day just to have a chat with them. You know that they'd be there for you. The ones that have been mega excited since you got engaged and been talking about your wedding non-stop, and the ones that you know are going to help you through everything. Number 6 I'm going to mention, I didn't know whether to put this one in here, but I get asked a lot of questions about it, and this is all to do with family politics. This is the hardest point for me to discuss, and I've got no hard and fast rule on this. Should I include my sister as my bridesmaid, but we don't really get on and we don't see each other? Do you include your in-laws in the bridal party? How does it all work? I'm not really close with them now, or I used to be really close but we're not anymore. Should I have them there? And really my only suggestion on this is it's very personal and you've got to think about your own circumstances. The only advice I can give on this is to really look at the big picture. People who are in your family or are going to be in your family now as in-laws are going to be there for a very, very long time to come. Friends do come and go, but siblings and in-laws are going to be there for the rest of your life, regardless of how close you are. And think in the future, is it going to be weird that I didn't have them there on my wedding day in my wedding pictures like that? And I chose friends that I had at the time. That's not to say that those friends won't be there for you in the future, but you just need to think of it like this and make the best decision for you. So I'm really sorry I can't give any sort of personal information or personal help with this, but you've got to go with your gut. Is it worth any arguments? Is it worth causing any family upset? You've got to do you at the end of the day, but just think of that big picture and come to a decision that suits you both as a couple. And that moves us on to number 7, think of you first. So all that stuff I've given you today, you've got to think of you as the number 1 person, and you've got to think of where you are now and what you want to do. You've got to think of those people that are going to keep you calm, going to keep you chilled, the people that are in your life at the moment. No one knows what the future's going to hold. You can't guarantee you're going to be friends forever. You can't guarantee that your sister is going to be your best friend together, but you can make a judgment on the situation you're in now and make the best call you can do for you. So throw the rules out the window and make that decision that really does suit you. And number 8, my last one on the list, is going to completely contradict everything I've said so far today, is break the rules, break tradition, and do exactly what you want to do. If you're having a really small wedding but you want to have loads of people on your wedding party, do that. If you don't want to have any bridesmaids or groomsmen or anyone in there at all, do it. You don't have to. If you want your favourite people stood up with you at that aisle, don't feel like you just have to have bridesmaids on your side, groomsmen on your partner's side, or bridesmaids one side. Whatever you want to do it. Have your favourite people there regardless of their gender, and know that they're there to support you, not to follow any traditions of weddings. You don't even have to have page boys, flower girls, any little ones involved if you don't want to, or just have little ones and don't have big bridesmaids and groomsmen or anything like that. It is completely up to you. And the last thing I'm going to throw out there is, if you don't want a them and a yours wedding party and you want to have an ours, do that. Loads of people have the same friendship group nowadays and they do everything together. You don't need to split the wedding party, have them as one big party and enjoy it all together. So there you have it, 10 kind of tips and guidelines to help you choose your wedding party. It is a really hard one to discuss because everyone's situations are just so different, but I hope that's given you a little bit of an idea to help you choose. And if you've got any pointers or any questions, drop them in the comments below. But of course, the biggest thing is to have fun with it. Choose the people you want there and do your own thing. Don't follow traditions and rules just because they say that's what you should do. I'm going to leave it there today. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and also subscribe if you haven't done so already. I send out new videos each week and I try and give you as much hints, tips and useful information as I can to help you on your wedding planning journey. Before I go, remember to look out for that Patreon video. It's coming really soon. Speak to you soon. Bye.